Just no. No. Hey everybody, I just wanted to make a quick comment about something I've been seeing floating around the internet. John Carpenter was at an expo or something a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago, take it for what it is, and he made a passing comment. Somebody said to him, hey, is there going to be a sequel to The Thing? And he kind of spit out, yeah, we're working on it, blah, 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 blah. And I think people ran with that a lot more than they should have. I think they read into it a lot more than he meant to be read into. I don't think there's any plans for a sequel to The Thing. I don't think anybody's seriously talking about a sequel to The Thing. I don't think that is going on at all. It's just something he said, I think, kind of flippantly. But even if it was, I think the biggest thing that the fan community could do for The Thing is to say, don't do it. Let me explain. The Thing is a masterpiece. It's a classic. We all know it. We all love it. We all cherish that motion picture. And to see anything added to it or slapped at the end of it or put before it kind of is a waste of time. I wouldn't say it hurts the original motion picture or Carpenter's motion picture, nothing from another world, but you know what I mean. But it just seems to murk up the waters that you don't need murked up. They tried to do a prequel, and although it wasn't a horrible movie, it paled in comparison to the original. So I don't know why everybody would be clamoring for this thing to take place. I think it would be something that is just bound to be a letdown. Also, if it did take place, you would have to have it set, for me, I would think, in a completely different realm. You couldn't have MacReady and Childs pop back up. You couldn't have any of that kind of stuff. Leave those characters alone. Don't know, don't want to know. I mean, you could, yeah, maybe somebody found the Norwegian camp and found some cells and they broke out in the lab and all shit was breaking loose. You could kind of go that route. I guess that would be fine. But to have a sequel where you have anything to do with the original characters or even kind of dive into the original story, I think would just dilute what was already there. So there's no need for it to take place. And the other glaring problem is Carpenter is not Carpenter anymore. When he said, well, we're working on it, people think, oh my God, John's going to dive in, he's going to direct that one last great movie, he's going to make this thing, it's going to be a sequel to The Thing, and we're going to go back on the train, and it's going to be the greatest thing ever. Everybody, just hear me out. I don't know if you'll find a bigger Carpenter fan than me, so what I'm about to say is not a knock. It's just what it is. I mean, geez, you go walk through my house, it looks like a shrine to Carpenter and his flicks. I'm an uber fan. That being said, Carpenter hasn't been Carpenter in a long time. I mean, if you look at that early body of work, 76 to 88, what he did, Assault, The Thing, Halloween, The Fog, Escape, Christine, They Live, Big Trouble, Prince of Darkness, all that stuff, magic. Those 10 movies or whatever that he did in like a 12-year span is just brilliant. I don't know if I've seen another director put out that many movies in that short a time that were either successes or went on to be legendary cult movies that are still raking in the money in merchandise sales decades and decades later. You don't see many people out there on the internet trading around stuff from E.T. or whatever, but you see a lot of Thing merchandise. You see a lot of Big Trouble merchandise. You see a lot of Escape from New York merchandise. You see a lot of They Live merchandise. That stuff is out there. It will be cemented into the psyche of culture forever. But really, if you look at 1988 afterwards, and you start to talk about when he started making movies again in 92, you start to talk about things like Memoirs of an Invisible Man. It might as well be Memoirs of an Invisible movie because nobody remembers it. You know what I mean? They've forgotten it even exists. You can have Escape from L.A. Really, that just hints on the problem that Carpenter became in the 90s and beyond. And that is what I mean. He became lazy. That early go-getter, trendsetter, the guy diving in there to prove something, was kind of gone. Instead of giving us a sequel, he gave us a remake. And you can see movies like Vampires. I mean, come on. Pull James Woods out of that, as good as Sherilyn Fenn and Baldwin were in it, fine. But pull James Woods out of that movie, what do you really got? Be honest. And then you take something like In the Mouth of Madness, good flick, the best of after the 80s movies he made, by far the best of them. Is it still great? But it's just better than the rest. You throw in there Ghosts of Mars, nobody remembers, nobody cares. And, come on, the war came and went just like people don't even recognize it was ever even part of anything. Sadly, one of the best things he did out of everything after 1990 was a TV show. When he did Body Bags. That was cool. That was good. People enjoyed it. But saying that your TV show run was probably the best thing that happened in your later career, that's not much to go on. Let's face it. John isn't the same John anymore. He hasn't been that John for 30 years, and really he hasn't been that John for almost 40 years. When he gave us those classic flicks, when he gave us those masterpieces, one after the other, after the other, after the other. These days, he just likes to sit around and do what he admits to. I'm not saying this. He says it. John, what did you have to do with this comic line? What did you have to do with that movie? What did you have to do? I put out my hand, and a check arrived, and I said, thank you very much, and they went off and did what they want. He doesn't care anymore. It doesn't mean anything to him anymore. He's just out there getting a paycheck and playing video games. And, for his own enjoyment, touring with his band. And in his defense, he should be entitled to be that way. Listen, nobody can stay what they were forever. Time marches on. People change. Priorities take place. Maybe he gave up so many times after going to bat, thinking this is going to be the big one. And then it not happened, and he said, well, I'll just keep going out and making money somehow. I just don't give a shit as much anymore. It is what it is. You can't expect somebody later in life to be what they were early in life. You can't expect Muhammad Ali to still go in there in his 40s and get the belt back. You can't expect Mike Tyson to turn back the hands of time and look good in a fight with a young kid when he hasn't fought in 20 years and then looked bad in his last fights anyway. It's kind of the same for John. He's in a different stage. He's in a different point in his life. And let him be happy. Let him go play video games, smoke his 8th pack that day, hang out, chill out, collect some money from an industry that really never gave too much about him anyway, and just ride off into the sunset until the curtain closes. But we should never think that John is coming back. And we should never hope that he makes another movie. If anything's proven or been proven to us, those days are over. But man, what days they were, and how lucky we were to have those motion pictures to always look back on. So anyway, in closing, I guess all I'm saying is, a Thing sequel, I don't want to see it. I don't care if it takes place. And oddly, I think if John's involved, it might actually even hurt it more than if it just went solo. Anyway, everybody, be good, take care, stay out of trouble, be kind to a stranger, be there for a friend, and most of all, never, ever take any bullshit from anybody. See you soon.